Order 66 has just ravaged the known universe. Billions of clone troopers are now under the power of the new Emperor, Darth Sidious. Small pockets of rebellion have sprung up amid the chaos. None, however, seem to have gotten a foothold against the Empire. That is, until a small spark of hope rises out of the shadows. After the death of his comrades in Daily Squad, Rico realized something was wrong with the clone troopers' breeding. These clone troopers were no random coincidence. He investigated the best he could, but didn't manage to convince anybody that it was real. Every time he made progress, a mysterious higher-up would make sure it didn't go any further into the investigation of the clone traitors. So Rico called upon any clones that would listen to his plea and assembled a new brigade, RICO'S Brigade. Rico managed to get them stationed in Vergesso asteroid fields, where no contact could be made with the rest of the Republic, ensuring that whatever was tampered with in their brains couldn't be activated. Order 66 came and went. Rico waited with his brigade. He wanted to see pockets of resistance to the Empire forming, and form they did. When he was sure he wasn't alone in his fight, Rico made his move. Rico moves his army into Geonosis airspace, a small planet, entirely controlled by the Empire. Rico expects a swift victory, and hopefully, with it, a sign to the Empire that they don't rule everything. A hard-fought battle on Geonosis has resulted in the liberation of the planet. Rico manages to minimize losses and is now confident in his battle-hardened men. New recruits are also among the ranks and equipment has been replenished. Rico decides that he is confident enough to push into a new Imperial-controlled planet. He waits 5 days for his men to get some R&R, and then moves into Ryloth airspace. Ryloth was a highly contested planet in the days of the Clone Wars. The populace was abused, and clones were slaughtered in the millions. The taking of this planet was personal for Rico's brigade. Ryloth has been classified as a small planet by the Empire, meaning it has larger fortifications than a standard outpost would contain. However, taking the small planet would also mean a higher reward in men for Rico. Capturing a small planet would surely catch the Empire's attention and possibly bring retaliation towards Rico and his men, though. Regardless, Rico loads the LAAT gunships and begins a planet-wide assault of Ryloth. It is unclear what sort of fortifications will be in place or what the terrain will be like, so Rico must adapt as he goes. Sirens pierce the stale air aboard the space station. Shouts from clones can be heard in the distance. Men run every which way, creating barricades and setting up defenses. "Racket, what's going on?" Rico's hologram screamed. "Sir, it looks as though the Imperial fleet is heading towards our position on the Vergesso asteroid field," Racket replied. Rico grimaced. "I should have known the Empire would strike back, especially after the capture of 2 planets. Listen, Racket, you must defend the space station at the Vergesso asteroid fields. Without it, we lose the very foundation of what this rebellion was built on. My fleet is too far away to assist you in any way, but we left behind enough men and munitions for you to outlast an Imperial fleet. Good luck, Captain." "Yes, sir." Racket saluted and Rico's hologram flickered away. Racket grabbed his blaster rifle from the ground and looked around. His men had set up a nice defensive line. He hoped that it would be enough. Suddenly, the station lurched slightly. The Empire had docked. Stormtroopers filed out of their landing craft. And who was with them? None other than the Sith assassin, Trip Hansen. Racket cleared his throat and yelled, "For the Republic!" "Very well, Your Majesty. We will make preparations and launch the attack on the city at nightfall." Rico turned and walked away from the Gungan leader. Rico boarded the LAAT gunship that was waiting for him outside the meeting place. It took off towards the large attack cruiser hovering above Naboo. The space battle for the planet was quite costly on Rico's fleet. They used some of the ships captured earlier by Racket at the Vergesso asteroid field, but they turned out to be junk and caused more damage to their own men than to the Empire. However, the ships eventually managed to break through and the Imperial fleet retreated. The LAAT landed in the cruiser's hangar, and Rico moved towards the command center. A clone trooper in old 212th 2nd Airborne armor was waiting there for him. "Dodger, how are the preparations for your landing going?" Rico asked. "Good, sir. We've loaded as many Gungans as we can onto the ships and are ready to roll." "Good, good. Now, Dodger, remember your mission is extremely important. Without you and the Gungans flanking the Imperial position, we'll all be toast. Yes, sir. Don't worry. My men have been prepped for the battle. Hopefully these Gungans don't make total fools of us, Dodger replied. They have been known to do that, Rico smiled. Oh, and Dodger, one last thing. Don't do anything to insult the Gungans. They're very sensitive.
Sir, 100,000 more units have been produced and are ready to be deployed against the Republic base.
The hooded figure opposite the commando droid pondered what he heard. Eventually, he spoke up.
This is good news. After years of planning and hard work, I have finally resurrected the Separatist droid army. But let us not get cocky now. Not when we are so close. I have heard there is a Captain Racket currently occupying the Republic outpost. He is going to be a tough nut to crack, but we will throw everything we've got at him. Now go! Move out as quietly as possible, as we are not to let them know of our presence.
Roger, roger.
The tactical droid responded. Back at the Republic base, Racket and his men were relaxing. The war was planets away at Naboo, and they were in relative safety on Geonosis. The outpost was lightly defended, with just a few cannons and small arms. Did you see the news? It looks like the treaty with the Gungans worked out, Tanker said to Racket. Yeah, Rico is really... An explosion rocked the outpost. We're under attack. Tanker, take some men and meet the enemy. After hearing of the planet-wide defeat on Geonosis and the creation of a new droid army, Rico became paranoid. Suddenly, he had too many enemies, and his only ally was the Gungans who were confined to fighting on Naboo. His own army was becoming tired and weary from the constant attack and defend dynamic that this war had brought on. He needed to find a way to bolster morale and sustain his forces. Rico voiced his problems to Dodger. Sir, I might have the solution that you're looking for, Dodger said. Well, what is it, Dodger? Rico asked. Sir, the rebels have recently taken a small planet from the Imperials. It is known as Bonaden. I think an alliance between the two of our factions could be extremely beneficial to the war effort. Rico thought. That is a good idea, Dodger, but I don't know if they'd take an alliance with us with our string of recent defeats. You're right. I think we need to have a quick and decisive victory soon against the Empire in order to get them to side with us. Dodger and Rico stood in silence as they thought about this for a minute, until Rico had an idea. I've got it, Dodge. We need to attack Dagobah. The Imperials have been scouring the planet for a mythical warrior for months now, but to no avail. If we capture it, then the rebels would certainly be interested in joining us for that territory, Rico said excitedly. That just might work, Dodger responded. A small battle took place over Dagobah for the airspace. Rico had sent the majority of his forces from Naboo over to ensure a decisive victory in the space battle. He couldn't risk looking like a fool now that he had to impress the rebels. Rico landed on the planet's surface with his men. It was extremely lightly defended. The Empire clearly never thought that anyone would attack this planet. The key to taking it was a small operating base where radio transmissions were sent. Rico would head up the main attack, while Dodger attacked from the water side in the rear. Racket would also be joining them through the jungle of trees. Rico wished his men good luck and prepared for battle. A few days had passed since the initial landing on Dagobah. Rico was still in serious pain from his crash landing, and it would be a few weeks until he'd fully recover. Dodger and Racket had also been injured during the attack, and were going to be out of the war for a time as well. Rico was still in negotiations with the rebels on making a joint alliance, so he needed a new leader to take over the war front for a time. The time to test a new leader would come sooner than expected. Days earlier, he had gotten word of a clone unit that hadn't been affected by Order 66 on the planet of Paulus. Supposedly, they had been hiding out until they had gotten word of what Rico was doing, and decided to launch an attack of their own on the Imperial base of Paulus just the day before. Sadly, their LAAT gunships were shot down, and they were now in a last-ditch firefight surrounded by stormtroopers. Rico knew he needed to help, so he picked Batcher, a known hero from the days of the Clone Wars, to go and provide aid to the downed troops. This would act as a test for the clone trooper, as well as an excellent opportunity for Rico to acquire some new troops. This would be a tricky mission, Paulus was deep into Imperial territory, and if the fleet heading into the planet were caught, then they would be quickly demolished by enemy ships. Luckily, Batcher was able to disguise their ships on the radar as merchants, and they slipped into the planet's atmosphere with ease. Batcher landed his men a good distance from the actual battle so they wouldn't get shot down as well. He couldn't bring in any tanks due to them slowing down the evacuation. It would be quick and easy. Get in, get out, as fast as possible. RICO's plan on stopping the Empire in their tracks was making progress. First, they had started by taking Geonosis, which was a widely successful planet-wide invasion that took the Empire completely by surprise. Then, RICO set his sights on Ryloth, in which his army was also met with very minimal resistance. It had appeared that the Empire did not take him seriously. That is, until RICO crushed the fortress on Ryloth and swiftly took the planet. After that battle, the Empire realized the threat RICO's brigade posed to them, and Palpatine sent one of their best assassins to destroy the fleet at the Vergesso asteroid fields. However, the assassin Trip Hansen was captured by Racket, the leader who bravely defended RICO's brigade's capital territory. RICO ordered Racket to imprison Hansen in the Vergesso asteroid fields, and then proceeded to contact the Gungan leader. He set up an alliance with the Gungans in order for them to liberate Theed together. But, while that was happening, Tanker and Racket were having trouble on Geonosis. A new mysterious Sith had resurrected the droid army, and had marched on RICO's base on the planet. Racket and Tanker put up a great fight, but sadly failed to repel the invaders, and Tanker died in the process. RICO chose to ignore this new adversary, for the time being, and opted to try and impress the Rebel Alliance instead. To do this, RICO launched an assault on the small planet of Dagobah. They took the planet, but at a great cost. A huge portion of the army was wiped out, and all of the fleet's commanders were injured. Due to this setback, RICO had to promote a new commander. He chose Batcher, a hero from the Clone Wars. Batcher's first mission was to rescue a group of downed clone troopers who were not affected by Order 66 on Paulus. The extraction was extremely successful, and Batcher made it out with brand new troops to replenish RICO's men. He also came out with two new brave heroes who would serve directly under his command, Steve and Rich. As Batcher headed back to Naboo to give his men and the new recruits some much needed R&R, RICO was in negotiations with the Rebel High Command in a secret Rebel base on Yavin 4. Here is what I can offer you, Organa. Assistance in future battles as well as supplies and vehicles for your war effort. However, in return, we want to remain independent from the Rebel Alliance, and also would like a declaration of war against the new droid army stationed on Geonosis. RICO spoke with authority. Yes, this will work for us. The only thing we ask in return is you remove your troops from Dagobah. This is unconditional, and you may not ask why. The planet may stay in your control, however. Senator Organa responded. RICO pondered this for a moment before speaking. This is fine. Strange, but fine. This will mean great new things for our two factions. RICO had officially cemented an alliance with the rebels. This would be huge for their effort against the Empire. But there would also be bad news to come. Bounty hunters representing the Hutts called RICO forward to negotiate. Upon arrival at the meeting place, RICO immediately noticed it was the notorious Boba Fett leading the meeting. Glad you could join us, clone, Boba growled. Fett, I should have known Jabba would send you, RICO responded. I'm sorry to inform you and your ragtag team of clones that Jabba is declaring war on you, Boba said. What? Why? We haven't done anything to provoke this. Well, clone, Jabba did not like you making friendly with those rebels. This was a big mistake. Boba Fett and his crew walked out, leaving RICO standing there confused. Later, RICO also learned that Boba went to the leader of the new battle droid army and offered an alliance to them on Jabba's behalf. According to rumor, the droid leader agreed to their terms and would now be supplying the Hutts with battle droids to fill their ranks of their army. The mysterious enemy was becoming more and more powerful as time went on. However, it didn't seem as though the new droid faction was allying themselves with the Empire. RICO was puzzled by this fact. The Empire also had remained eerily silent during the past few months. The only attempt they had made to stop RICO was the assassin Trip Hansen. Other than that, all they did was simply defend to the best of their ability. They never counterattacked. RICO was becoming increasingly uneasy about this situation. He felt as though a trap was coming along. However, he was still happy with his alliance with the rebels, but it brought with it a powerful and influential new enemy. RICO's campaign against the Empire was becoming more and more complicated by the day. Only time will tell what the future was in store for this commander and his generals. As RICO stood on his ship, looking off into nowhere, a familiar voice said something from behind.
Hello there.
Previously on RICO'S Brigade. I'm sorry to inform you and your ragtag team of clones that Jabba is declaring war on you. Boba went to the leader of the new battle droid army and offered an alliance to them on Jabba's behalf. The droid leader agreed to their terms and would now be supplying the Hutts with battle droids to fill their ranks of their army. RICO was becoming increasingly uneasy about this situation. He felt as though a trap was coming along. However, he was still happy with his alliance with the rebels, but it brought with it a powerful and influential new enemy. RICO's campaign against the Empire was becoming more and more complicated by the day. Only time will tell what the future was in store for this commander and his generals. As RICO stood on his ship, looking off into nowhere, a familiar voice said something from behind.
Hello there.
General Kenobi, RICO gasped, astonished. How did you survive Order 66? Where have you been all this time? Wait, how did you even get on this ship?
Rico, there will be time for all that later, my old friend. I apologize for not contacting you sooner, but I've been busy.
Well, why are you here now? Rico asked.
I need your help. I've been watching over a young boy with promising force sensitivity. I need you to keep him safe. He'll be absolutely instrumental in taking down the Empire. This is where you come in. The Hutts have been recently begun sending patrols out to our villages on Tatooine and raiding them one by one, searching for the force-sensitive children. I need you to send a troop battalion of men to look after the boy with me. I cannot let my presence be known on the planet, or else I would be taking on these thugs myself.
This boy is obviously very important, Rico stated. But I also have a war going on. I can only spare about 30 men to protect your boy, but I will send Dodger, one of my best commanders, with you. While they go out scouting for the boy's location, why don't you and I have a drink, old friend?
That would be great.
Kenobi responded with a smile. Rico sent Dodger and 2 squads of men to Tatooine. As they moved across the sand dunes, Hutt cartel members and battle droids popped up surrounding them. Dodger and his men held off the attackers the best they could, but eventually they fell one by one. Dodger had been shot and died instantly, but not before getting a signal to command that they had been attacked. Rico and Obi-Wan were conversing on the cruiser when a clone came up to them. Sir, it appears as though Dodger and his men were attacked on Tatooine. No one survived. Those Hutt slime balls, Rico said angrily. They will have to pay for what they've done. Sir, it appears as though the Hutts have also taken over the property where the Force-sensitive boy lives.
Blast it.
Kenobi exclaimed.
Rico, we have to take it back. Will you help me?
Obi-Wan, I will personally help you take back the land where the boy is being held. We shall prepare the troops for a full planetary invasion of Tatooine. The Hutts mess with the wrong people.
Just like old times.
Rico had fallen into a pit of anger. He had rashly sent a large portion of his army over to Tatooine, where he and Obi-Wan decimated the Hutt presence that was on the planet. This move would leave the rest of his forces vulnerable on the other parts of the galaxy, but Rico was unwaved in his tenacity. So Rico set off towards the planet Bothawi. Space defenses on this planet were non-existent, but that hardly reflected the ground defenses. Listen, Racket, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I just feel this seething anger after Dodger's death, and I lost sight of the big picture. It's okay, Rico. That kind of stuff happens to all of us. That may be true, but I can't afford to have this be the downfall of our military efforts. That last assault we did could have cost us the war. We got lucky that our troops pulled through. We might not get that lucky again. That's why I'm taking a temporary leave of absence. You're gonna have to take control of the fleets while I'm gone. Rico, I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, Racket. You're a good soldier and an honorable man. Well, what are you gonna do now, Commander? I'm gonna begin to take care of the planets we currently occupy. We need to form a stable government. A new republic, if you will. Relief missions also need to begin. A lot of civilians were mistreated by the Empire, and we need to care for our people or we're no better than them. Trust me, Racket, I got plenty of stuff to keep me occupied. What you're doing is admirable, sir. Not just any leader can realize they need to step down for the greater good. Thanks, Racket. Give 'em hell out there. Racket began preparing the plans for his next attack. Their position was extremely weak at the moment. They had droids in their backlines as well as the huts on their flank, not to mention they were completely surrounded by the Empire. Their only ally was also planets away from them. Right now, it seemed like no ship could be spared for an attack. They had been stretched too thin. But another problem would soon present itself. The mysterious cloaked droid leader had come out of hiding yet again. He sent his fleet towards Bothawi and landed all ships before a space battle could be initiated. Racket and an entire clone fleet were at Bothawi. Racket thought to himself, what could this madman possibly be doing? Was he willing to destroy half his army just to cripple RICO'S brigade? Racket didn't care to find out. He knew what he had to do. The same thing the Empire had done to them a week earlier. He set up men in flanking positions all along the valley leading to the clone base. Then he made an alteration to the Empire's original plan. He sallied forth with a large portion of his army straight down the middle. They would act as bait for the oncoming droid army. Batcher's hologram flickered to life in front of Racket. Hey Racket, how are things going on Bothawi? They're going well. We're almost ready to head out. Have you prepared your fleet yet? Yes, sir. Preparations have been underway. But sir, we're stretching our forces pretty thin over on this quadrant of the galaxy. My fleet only has about 10 million men. I'm leaving 1 million between 3 planets. That's not nearly enough to hold for more than one small attack. Don't worry, Batcher. This next mission will solve all of our problems. Just leave the bare minimum men that you possibly can. Sir, I don't mean to keep bothering you with this, but you are aware that across the galaxy the Imperials have almost 50 billion men. We started with 1 billion, and between you and I, our fleets are now at a mere 50 million. It's a miracle we've made it this far. I don't think attacking is the right choice now. We should hunker down and fortify the planets that we've got. Batcher, I appreciate your concern, and it's about time I told you. I was keeping this a secret so that the Empire didn't get wind of it. I sent Flack, a young clone who proved himself in the defense of Bothawi, over to rebel bases on Yavin 4. We have a joint assault going on Kamino. They are bringing 10 million men, along with our 50 million. We should be able to take the planet. The Empire has increased their defenses on the planet though, so it's going to be a hard fight. Okay, sir. Sorry for doubting you. I'll come through with my men. I just wish Rico were here. Me too, kid. He set up a government and then said he would stick around to make things work, but then he just took off. Rico stood silent, examining the wreckage surrounding the old battlefield. He was suddenly filled with emotions. This was a scary reminder of his past. The area around him was deathly silent, as if the animals respected what had happened there. Rico had a feeling that his search had only just begun. Back on Kamino, a space battle ensued. The fighting lasted hours. Republic and Rebel ships were getting smashed to pieces, but their will to take back their homeland was strong. Eventually, they broke through the barricade of Imperial ships. A full planetary invasion followed. Racket and Batcher landed their troops on the main platform. Flack landed with the rebels in a flanking position. Their objective on this platform was to get to the control panel that was being guarded by Imperial troops. If they could shut that down, then Imperial communications would be shut down and they couldn't request reinforcements. It was going to be hard, but it would mean the continuation of this great rebellion. Commander Racket, we have reprogrammed the clones that were almost finished being created so that they will fight for our side. We also have upped production of clone units on Kamino in general. Very good, Flak. It has come to my attention that a group of stormtroopers are refusing to surrender on certain platforms on Kamino. I need you to go and crush them into submission. Sir, yes, sir.
Boba, I think I have something you want.
What could you possibly have for me?
Well, I have received concrete information that your father's killer still lives.
Gah, that's impossible. He was killed years ago at the end of the Clone Wars. No one has heard from him since.
That's where you're wrong. He has recovered from his wounds and resides with a group of clone freedom fighters on the planet Hoth.
You mean RICO'S Brigade?
No, they do not associate with that scum. They are their own special breed of villainy.
Why are you telling me all this? What's in it for you?
Same reason you want this man killed. Revenge. He helped aid the downfall of my father's empire. I'm trying to rebuild what he lost. And this man's very existence threatens the recovery of the separatist droid army.
Very well, but I don't have the resources to take on any army by myself.
I will aid you with the men you need. You just need to kill them and bring his lightsaber to me.
Rico landed his ship on the icy frozen planet's surface. He began his trek towards the base camp that the local Cantina bounty hunters told him he would find what he was looking for. When he walked through the doors of the base, he saw blasters pointing at his face. Not just any blasters, but clone blasters. It was a missing clone trooper ice regiment from the beginning of the Clone Wars. They explained to Rico that they had survived a cave-in and spent months digging their way out. When they made it out, they had no way off the planet. Rico explained to them who he was, and they brought him to their leader. Rico entered a room, and standing opposite him was Mace Windu. Ah, Rico, I see you found me. It's good to see you, Commander. Mace, I thought you were killed during Order 66. I survived my fall and escaped the planet. I ended up hiding out here, where this clone regiment found me and took me in. I am their leader now. That's great. Why didn't you come and find me? I saw what you were doing, and I'm quite fond of it, Rico. But I have my own plans. In fact, you're just in time to witness them in action. I tricked a spy of that foolish son of Dooku to tell him my location. Wait, the hooded man is Dooku's son? Yes, he seeks vengeance for his father's death, but he is likely too cowardly to come after me himself. But if I can get him to send an army here, then perhaps I can wipe out some of his forces with my trap. Well, what can I do to help, Mace? Well, Rico, why don't you talk to my top commander about joining in the flanking maneuver? Rookie walked into the room. Well, 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 if it isn't Rico. Rookie, I thought you were dead. I thought so too, but Mace here pulled me from my last dying breath and brought me here. Can you blame me? I thought he'd become quite the asset. But why didn't you tell me you were alive? Rico asked. We wanted to keep it a secret. We knew you were doing important things, and we couldn't afford to cause you an emotional distraction. I'm sorry, Rico. That's alright, buddy. I guess it's just good to have you back. Rico and Rookie set up a flanking route with the dispatch of clone units. Meanwhile, Mace made sure the front defenses were solid to take on the droid and Hutt army. Mace, Rookie, and Rico managed to escape the death grip of Boba Fett, who had launched an invasion force on Windu's secret Hoth fort. They reconnected with Racket, who was overseeing the development of new clones on the planet of Kamino. They all rejoiced at the finding of old friends. But this joy was short-lived, as news from a hologram had come in that men holding the base on Ryloth were under attack. The space battle over Ryloth was short-lived, as the Imperials had sent a full fleet to attack the planet. They were after the mines that they had lost months earlier, and that were currently supplying Rico's war effort with much-needed materials. Once the Imperials landed on the planet, they launched a first attack on the New Republic's base. However, their forces were turned back by the clone troopers in a long, drawn-out battle. Then, before the second attack, a figure appeared on the battlefield. It was Lord Vader, coming there to finish the job himself. Sir, we have some troubling news. The final bunker on Ryloth has fallen. Our presence there no longer exists. We knew that would happen, Flack. It's a shame we weren't able to hold on any longer, but we did get around 5 million troops off the planet before the animal Vader stole it from us, Rico responded. Do you want me to gather the troops for a counterattack on Ryloth, sir? No, Flack. That's what they're expecting from us. We've been too predictable in this campaign so far. We need to switch things up a bit. What did you have in mind? Flack, gather the Imperial armor that we have captured, and 20 of your best men. We're going to pay a visit to the Imperial installation on Shola. Flack returned about an hour later to Rico in full Stormtrooper armor, along with his most capable troops. Hello, brothers. I'm glad you all found armor that fits. We suffered a deep blow from the Empire recently. As you know, Darth Vader cut down countless of our men by his own hand. We cannot let this stand. If we do not retaliate, then we will be seen as weak. Not to mention, our fallen comrades deserve to be avenged. They came this far over the past year fighting back against tyranny and repression. We've suffered losses after losses and defeats after defeats. What few victories we have won have been unbelievably hard fought and cost us greatly. The capturing of Camino was a step in the right direction, but we are hardly ready to use any of our new clone troopers. So in the meantime, we are going to make the Empire feel the pain that we felt. For every brother we have lost, we will chop down 2 of those Stormtrooper scum. We will not rest until they stop lording over us. The Stormtrooper army thinks themselves kings, and their hierarchy thinks themselves gods. Well, I for one don't buy any of it. And after all, what are gods to non-believers? There's no church in the wild, and we are the forest. Rico finished his speech, and sent the infiltration unit to Shola. He then gathered his own men, and prepared them for the invasion to come. A clone soldier from Rico's brigade was relaxing at a bar, having a few drinks and unwinding from a long day of work. He was at a canteen on Tatooine, and was entertaining himself by listening in on some of the locals' conversations. Nothing all that great yet, just gossip and who's dating who, and who needed to come down a peg. Suddenly, a Tusken Raider entered the bar. It had a weapon in its hand, and was clearly looking for trouble. The soldier sitting there quickly realized he was in trouble himself, and he hadn't brought with him his blaster. But before anything could happen, a blaster was pointed at the Tusken Raider's head. The Raider knew he was beat, and left the bar. Standing there, behind the blaster, was Captain Rex. "Captain Rex!" the soldier exclaimed. "Aye, kid. That's me," Rex responded. "I thought you were dead, sir." "Can we take this discussion outside, soldier?" The 2 clones continued their conversation outside, away from prying eyes and listening ears. "Sir, my name is Flashpoint. I actually served under you in the 501st, but I was injured at the Battle of Umbara and was reassigned after that." "Well, it's good to see you again, Trooper. It's been so long since I've talked to a brother who hasn't been brainwashed by Palpatine. I actually need your help. I was on an important assignment for a surviving Jedi when I discovered valuable information for your leader, Rico. I need to talk to him in person. That's why I was stalking you in the bar. Can you help me get to him?" "Well, sir, I don't know Rico personally, but perhaps my captain can get you someone who does." "That's great. Bring me to him, Flashpoint." Rico and Flashpoint crossed sand dunes until eventually they made it to what looked like a destroyed LAAT. "What the?" Flashpoint exclaimed. "Looks like the Tusken Raiders got to your base before we could." "You would be right, Captain," a voice said from behind. "Sergeant Walters? You're alive?" "Of course, Rex. Takes more than Order 66 to bring me down." Rex and Walters had known each other for years during the Clone Wars, and had served together often. "Sure looks like it, Walt. Do you have any transportation you could give us? Flashpoint and I need to get off this planet to meet Rico." "Well, that will be a problem. We were the only squad out here for miles, and we had 2 LAATs. One is this hunk of junk, and the other was stolen by the Tusken Raiders. But I did see them take off towards the north in it, and I think I know the location of their base." "This is great news," Flashpoint said. "Let's go take it back." "Well, I guess it's our only option. I've got 3 more men that survived the attack. Let's get them and then attack the Tuskens." So the soldiers set off towards the Tusken base to reclaim their stolen LAAT and make it back to Rico. Sirens screamed in the interior of the base. Clone soldiers ran around with a purpose. The sentries guarding the far outskirts of the compound were blasted by intense gunfire and fell over dead. Rico was joined by Racket, Flak, and Mace in the command center of the base. "Sir, it's the Empire. They're here. They've sent a massive fleet to Bothawi," Racket said to Rico. "But how did they know we were here? This is the first time we've been back to this base in months, Racket." "It could be that we have a spy in our midst," Windu said dramatically. "Whatever, it doesn't matter right now. What matters is we prep the defenses. I want every soldier we've got in this battle. Flak, go gather a greeting party and meet the enemy outside. We need you to buy us some time." "Is there anything we can do?" a voice said from behind. Rex and Flashpoint had walked into the room. "Rex, is that really you?" "It is, Rico, and this is my new pal Flashpoint." "Well, it's good to see you, old friend, and welcome to the Inner Circle, Flashpoint. We could really use your help right now. I'm glad we have you here. We're in a really tight spot. This could be the end of Rico's brigade." "Well, it's not just me, Rico. I ran into one of your friends on my way here. Not only that, he was on his way here with a ship and an army." "Thank the Force! Who was it, Rex?" "Well, why don't you talk to him yourself?" Rico turned around to see a friendly face looking at him.
Hello there.
The failure to kill even one of those commanders is unforgivable. It's too bad everyone involved in the operation is dead, or else I would enjoy making sure they knew of their failure personally. But regardless, the intelligence that you brought us was sublime. Now I hope they didn't catch on to you. Couldn't afford to lose the intel you've been giving us. Not at this stage in the war. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your confidence in me. Well, remember, trust can be lost quickly, especially for a spy. I don't want you getting too chummy with your old Republic pals. Remember, we're loyal to the Empire. Those Jedi-loving defects don't belong in this existence. Yes, Commander. Understood. Good, good. Now, there's a bit of a side mission I need you to do. Are you okay with dropping the espionage a bit and going into the field for real? I would love the opportunity, sir. Alright, we found out about a rebel base on Bonadan. Go wipe them off the galaxy. Yes, sir. There'll be none of those scum left when I'm done. Rico and Racket were discussing battle tactics on board Rico's capital ship. The recent attempt at taking Bothawi had been troubling the two leaders for some time, as it meant there had been a traitor in their midst. But they hadn't found concrete evidence of who the traitor was. They knew it had to be someone in the Inner Circle due to their level of intel that they had access to, but beyond that, they were clueless. Rookie walked into the room casually and said hello to the two clones. "Ah, Rookie, there you are. We missed you during the last battle," Rico said. "Dang, you know me, I'm always up for a big battle, but at least I was able to do some scouting of Imperial positions." "Good stuff, Rookie. File it in the system under Level 8 reports," Racket said. "Will do, sir. Will there be anything else?" Rookie asked. "Well, Rico and I here had just come up with our latest attack plan. We're going to try our hand in taking Kashyyyk. The Wookiees there will surely join our cause if we manage to liberate them from the clutches of the Empire." "Brilliant plan, sir. What do you need me to do?" Rookie asked. "Rookie, we're going to have you command the fleet from above, as well as engage in the initial space battle for the planet. Then we're having Flak move in with ground forces for the actual invasion." "Yes, sir." Final preparations for the invasion were made, and Rico's brigade was ready for the battle. However, once the fleet arrived to the planet, the Imperial fleet wasn't there. "Well, this is odd," Rico said to Racket. "Where's the fleet, and weren't they just here 2 days ago?" "I don't know, sir. Something is up. Let's send Flak down with the invasion force to see what's going on down there." So Flak went to the surface with his men, but there was still no one in sight. Rico's orders for him were to find life on the planet, but to stay alert. They were suspicious of a trap. "Sir, Flak's gunship has gone down on the planet below. It is unclear if he's alive or not. On top of that, the Empire has a large army down below. They've set up anti-air turrets all over the place, so another gunship drop-off is out of the question. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to get down there or retrieve our fallen men," Racket said to Rico. "This is rough, Racket, but remember how the droids attacked during the Clone Wars? They sent troops by sea in an amphibious assault. I'm thinking we do the same. We need to establish a beachhead on the planet, then we move in to retrieve our troops." "Okay, sir. I'll ready the men. Who do you want leading this mission?" "Well, I was thinking that we'd have you on this one, Racket. It's been a while since we were in a real assault. Need to make sure you're not too rusty." Don't worry, sir. I got this. On the beaches of Kashyyyk, Rico and Racket were talking. Sir, we took this part of the island on the planet. There were no Wookiees to be liberated. However, we did find Flak. He is alive, but in critical condition. The Empire wrote something in blood on his armor. It said, "Watch your back, traitors." Wow, well, it's clear they wanted to send a message to us. Sir, do you think they meant anything behind "watch our backs"? No, it's probably them trying to just toy with us. I highly doubt the Empire could come up with anything more sophisticated than that. You're right, sir. So, what's the next plan of attack? Well, Racket, we need to finish conquering this island. There's a military base further inland that we should wipe out. Send the men that way, and after we take it, we'll be taking on the main Kashyyyk Island. I have a feeling that is where we will find our lost Wookiee friends. Little did Racket and Rico know that Rookie had been eavesdropping on their conversation and quickly went to Commander Cody to report what he had heard. Commander Cody, sir. Rico's brigade is planning an attack further inland to the military base on Island Z1. Ah, good to know, Rookie. Nice work. Get all of the men out of that military installation. We're not gonna fight, sir? Oh, don't you worry. We're gonna fight alright, but on our terms. Back on Kashyyyk, Captain Scrum was discovering that nobody remained in the Imperial military installation. Well, that was easier than expected, Scrum said. Sir, about that, we have heat signatures coming in from all directions. We're under attack. Blast! It was a trap. Get the men into quick defensive positions. We have to hold out. You have failed me for the last time, General Cody. You and your small spies are incapable of putting down a tiny group of defective clones, and you let them capture Camino and begin expanding their traitorous army? Sir, I do apologize, but Rico is a tougher adversary than you would imagine. I do not need your excuses. I want results. Yes, sir. Right on it. No, your time has passed. Go get Zen Collab and bring him to me. Cody told Zen that Darth Sidious wanted a word, and Zen appeared before the Sith Lord. Zen, my spies tell me that the rebels are sending soldiers to aid Rico in this ongoing battle of Kashyyyk. However, they are making a pit stop on Alderaan to refuel. This is where I want you to strike at them. Go now and fulfill your duty. Zen abruptly called a retreat for his men, deciding that the battle was lost. Zen managed to get away with roughly 50 of his elite scout troopers, while the rebels took off from that point with half of their army still intact. The rebels managed to make it to Kashyyyk and resupplied Rico's war effort on the planet. Rico received the rebel reinforcements on one of the Kashyyyk beaches that they had taken earlier. Hey there, Captain. It's good to see you lads managed to make it here in one piece. Well, not quite, Rico. We had to tango with a new Sith assassin of Sidious's. But we managed to break through. Good work, soldier. I'm afraid we may have to deal with that Sith assassin again someday, but for now, you've accomplished a great thing. Now here's the situation. We're attacking the mainland today, and if we achieve victory, then we will have taken the planet of Kashyyyk. But we should expect heavy resistance. We're hoping the local Wookiees will take up arms and help fight with us. But we can't count on that. Get your men ready, and we'll roll out in 30 minutes. Celebrations had been ongoing on the beaches of Kashyyyk with the Wookiees and the clones of Rico's brigade for a few days now. The Wookiees were happy they were liberated, and the clones were happy they didn't have to fight for a little while. Even the always somber rebels were partaking in the festivities, as they had taken the planet of Alderaan not a few weeks earlier. It's safe to say that the Battle of Kashyyyk was one of the most costly battles of Rico's war, but it also gained the brigade a new territory and a new ally in the Wookiees. The Emperor's tight grip on the southeast section of the galaxy was fading quickly. The planet of Mount Calamari even slipped into rebel control after Kashyyyk because Imperial trade routes had been completely severed to there as a result. Of course, Admiral Akbar was behind the insurrection. All seemed well in the galaxy at that moment. Rico was treating local populaces extremely well, as the clone felt great affection for his people. Every territory Rico owned was thriving. This made Imperial-owned territories jealous and inspired small resistance movements within them. But this made little difference as the number of stormtroopers in the galaxy was still dumbfounding. But beneath all of the glory of the war, something was stirring. An old enemy Rico hadn't faced in a long time was preparing his troopers. Count Dooku's son. After major underperformance from his army, Dooku's son, Jaden Dooku, decided he needed a change, so he began to develop more advanced commando troopers for his army. Not only that, but he also began to triple his battle droid output. He would return to the battlefield with one of the most powerful armies in the galaxy. Jaden Dooku went to a minor clone battle station and sent a parlay symbol to the base. They accepted, and Jaden requested a meeting with Rico from the clone captain who was working there. The captain said he would see what he could do, and sure enough, a meeting was set up between Jaden and Rico. Rico, it's very nice for us to finally meet face to face. I want to start off by saying that I personally have nothing against you. In fact, I respect you clones. You come from the late great Jango Fett. However, I despise the people you associate yourself with. The Jedi Order? I mean, come on, they're the scum that killed my father and ruined this galaxy. I will forever hunt them down and destroy them. You just happen to be standing in my way of doing that. So here's why I requested this meeting. You give me Kenobi and Windu, the two Jedi war criminals I know you are harboring. Once that's done, I will leave RICO'S Brigade alone. In fact, I would even consider donating some battle droids to your cause. Jaden, I can tell you right now that this will never happen. You are delusional to think the Jedi were the reason for your father's death. He was a madman who aided in the expansion of slave trade, death, and poverty across the galaxy. He got what was coming to him. If you want Kenobi and Windu, then you will have to fight us tooth and nail for them. And let me tell you right now, you will lose. Your clankers are no match for the heart and grit that comes with a clone trooper army. Very well. I'm sorry you see things this way, Commander Rico. I suppose we will be seeing each other on the battlefield. Oh, and one last thing. I know you've been searching for a spy in your ranks. I have been informed that this spy is one of your old pals from Daily Squad. How ironic. Rookie, I think his name is? Do with this information what you will. It's a little gift from me. Jaden Dooku left Rico standing there puzzled. If this information was true, then one of his oldest friends had betrayed him. Rico went to Racket to talk it out. I can't say it doesn't make sense, Rico. I mean, Rookie had access to all the information in the leaks, not to mention he knew some battle plans we only discussed with 3 or 4 other commanders. Also, the source seems solid. Dooku's son wouldn't know we've been dealing with a leak unless one of his Imperial cronies told him Rookie was a double agent. I know, Racket. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I don't want it to be true, though. But I believe it is. Come with me now. We have to confront him. Rico and Racket went to the hangar where Rookie was working. But when they got there, they found out from a technician that Rookie had taken off in a ship not moments before. In fact, Rookie had a listening device placed on Racket's armor that was so microscopic it couldn't be seen by the naked eye. So Rookie knew that they were coming for him. Racket chased Rookie with his fleet, but it was no use. They couldn't find him anywhere. But then suddenly, Racket realized the ship had a tracker on it, so they discovered Rookie had escaped to the planet of Ryloth, where an Imperial base was. Racket decided to give chase and start a fight. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.